Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, I'm Mark Robison from the Reno Gazette Journal. And today we have a debate for the School Board District C. District C covers the North Valleys, Spanish Springs, and much of rural Washoe County. And we're here today with incumbent Joe Rodriguez and challenger Melanie Sutton. And so thank you so much for doing this. And Joe, I wanted to start with you.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons that Melanie has said that she's running is that she was unhappy with the way the school district handled the pandemic with mask mandates and remote learning. And so if the district were to face a similar situation in the future, what did you learn from the first round that you would perhaps do differently?
Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. And to be fair, I was a trustee kind of the tail end of that. So as a parent, I had my frustrations as well. But one thing that I did realize as we were coming out of the pandemic was that look how far we came. We were one of the largest schools districts to actually put kids back in classrooms. Obviously, there were some challenges, as far as different teams, social distancing, things like that, and mixed or hybrid. But we faced that challenge and we implemented everything that we could as possible. We gave our kids laptops, kids that didn't have hotspots, things like that. They were allowed, district was able to give those to families in need. And as far as the mask mandate goes, I understand the frustration as well, but a lot of those were set by state mandates. So in essence, we couldn't go against the governor's directive. We've had these discussions in and out of the boardroom. We talked with our chief legal counsel and different lawyers. Like, this is something we just couldn't possibly do. And I understand parents out there that said, well, the other states are doing things differently. Well, their form of government might be different than what it is in Nevada. A city can't go against the state, things like that. So we did overcome a lot. We learned a lot. And obviously, heavens forbid we have to face something like this again. But I think we are more rounded, more equipped to address those needs.
Okay, and so Melanie, I'll kind of do a twist on that question for you is what, one of the things is that, this was a crisis that, nobody had faced before. Nobody knew what they were doing. There was a lot of information that changed early on because everybody was still learning. And so in the heat of the moment, what would you have done differently?
There's a lot, and honestly, if you follow the Constitution, the city and the county do have the right to go against the state. It should have been our county leaders that stood up for our children. It should have been our trustees that stood up for our children. We knew by the time school restarted that our children were not affected by COVID as much as adults. And as far as the trace tracking and sending students home for 10 days when they're not even sick and not even have a way for them to teach. I had a lot of parents call me, students that were in GATE, where they were sent home, like it would have been 7 days they'd been at school. Well, they get sent home for the 3 days that was remaining in the 10 days, and that student wasn't able to do their schoolwork. And that's what I've heard from parents.
Okay. And so I'll move on to a new topic, and so about the curriculum. And so and Melanie, will go first with you, is that do you think that the sex education curriculum in the district is appropriate?
I do not.
Okay, and so give us some specific something and then what you would do differently.
So as far as sex ed with what the state requires, we have gone far beyond that. I feel like they're sexualizing our children. I have my daughter that is 10 years old, which she's in 5th grade, which I homeschool. But what they want to teach 4th and 5th graders is terrifying to me. And I feel like they're sexualizing our students and they're taking their innocence away.
So let me do a follow-up before I go to Joe. So, one of the things that people who deal with children who have been abused say is that the children don't have the language to describe what's happened to them, and so therefore things continue longer than they would because they don't know how to speak up, they don't know what's wrong because they haven't been taught at an early enough age some of these things. And so what would you say to somebody with that concern?
They have gone way too far. I'm not going to say certain things because it's inappropriate for me to say. It's inappropriate for me to even talk to my children or tell my children a certain thing because that's something their significant other should be teaching them. There's certain things my 5th grader should not be taught. It's taken their innocence away, and I think it's even making it easier for groomers to groom the children because it's desensitizing them.
Okay, Joe, what do you have to say about sex education and the school board's role in that?
Well, you're correct. It goes back to this is a state mandate. We are required to establish some sort of sex ed, and with that, we do have a committee, and that's also against it by statute. And I think it's very age appropriate. My daughter just took it, honestly, and this is something that if Miss Sutton, if her kids were in a school district, she can opt out. Actually, in fact, you actually have to opt in to our sexual education. So it's not like, oh, well, you had an opportunity to not have your child in this class. No, you actually have to get a piece of paper, because again, my daughter just went not too long ago. Piece of paper is given to you well in advance. The curriculum, the lesson plan, everything's offered online so a parent can see what's on there. And I'll be honest, I looked back, about a year ago when this started becoming a hot topic. There's nothing pornographic, nothing sexual stimulating in this education. So I do believe it's very age appropriate, and you are correct, because that's something else that's a big, one of my platforms is human trafficking and recognizing when someone's being groomed. And that's something I've been working very heavily with Awaken and other legislators. So I quite frankly disagree with Ms. Sutton on this. So.
Okay, well with that, we're going to need to go to a break, and so we'll be right back after this.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.com. newsmakersnetwork.org.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerhour, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Okay, back on Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Mark Robison from the Reno Gazette Journal, and I'm doing a solo debate here in not having Sam Shad, who would normally be with us. But the debate is between Joe Rodriguez and Melanie Sutton for District C for the Washoe County School Board. And so, again, thank you both for being with us. And so, continuing sort of on the sex education that we were talking about earlier, Melanie, let's go with you, is that with the school libraries, do you think that there's any inappropriate materials in there? Does there need to be an investigation, or as near as you can tell, everything okay with the school libraries?
Well, first I'd like to add to what Joe said. Joe mentioned that we're following the guidelines. Well, the guidelines for sex ed for Nevada, the state of Nevada, is only one sentence. So we are going far beyond that. And we have pictures for our fourth graders of a drawing of legs spread open, pointing to the different areas, and that is not appropriate for our children. And as far as what was, I just had to respond to that.
Yeah, no, and we can potentially go back to that too.
Okay,
So, but
as far as the books, I think we should probably have a committee to go through and make sure everything is age appropriate.
Okay, and so what sort of criteria would you use needs to be set up, or advice would you have for such a board that would go through and look at that?
I mean, it's just common sense as far as what's age appropriate or not, and what a school should be promoting for our children. Our children need to be protected, and I agree. Sex trafficking in Nevada is a huge problem. It's probably the biggest one in the entire United States. So obviously we have to protect our children, but there's lots of books. I mean, I have a book right here, which isn't sex ed, but that are in our school libraries that are inappropriate for our children.
Okay, Joe.
As far as our libraries go, should be an investigation, things of that nature. No, again, we could look back to the state of Nevada, academic contents, things like that. In our libraries, we have people that are working. We're actually establishing a quality of education. It's taking some time because, quite frankly, there's been a lot of distraction and noise in the background. But we're moving forward, and I believe the books are in there. Having visited our schools, having kids in our schools, asking my kids and neighbors, ask them daily. What are you learning? What are you seeing? Getting good pulse. And again, I believe the books are in there are age appropriate and appropriate for education. So I mean, quite frankly, I don't see the need to establish another committee, to establish more money, to invest or waste more money into investigating our libraries when it's. I just don't see that need for it. Okay.
Well, and so Joe, let's do the next one to you and go to school performance. Mm-hmm. And so the school district sends data to the state that puts on its Nevada report card.
Yep.
And Washoe County School District isn't doing great. 1 in 2 high school students are not proficient in English. 1 in 4 are not proficient in math. And so, why do you think this is, and what needs to be done?
So we're coming, a lot of this is, we're coming out of the pandemic, and I looked up a lot of the numbers that you just referenced, and we do have small bumps as a district as a whole. So we are making small steps forward, but coming out of the pandemic, this is almost, unfortunately, is to be expected. It's not the right answer, and we're not satisfied with that. And we're doing everything we can to address those. Something recently that I'm really proud of, that the Board of Trustees, we just voted on a 24/7, 365, one-on-one online tutoring. And I'll be honest, like our kids are learning things that in 5th and 6th grade that I wasn't. And I'll share a quick story. A couple years ago, my son, I thought he was playing a video game on his district-issue laptop. And I'm like, what are you doing? I thought he was playing Donkey Kong, which, I'll be honest, good for you. But he was actually doing game coding. He was actually making a video game, in 6th grade. And this is stuff that we're teaching our kids. So while I will say that, yes, we need to focus on our basics and get our platform for their education, we also need to embrace our STEM and STEAM programs, and we're showing good numbers with those.
Okay, Melanie, what do you have to say about school proficiency?
Actually, our school district has been going down for about a decade. We are terrible. We do need to stick to the basics. When we're building these beautiful schools, but our children are failing, but they go to a nice school, that's great. We are failing our children. There's other states within this country that get less funding than us. Utah one is an example. They have 20% less funding than us, and they are in the top 10. I think we could do better. How about we reach out to those states and see what they're doing differently so we can improve for our students? Because if our students are succeeding, we're going to draw more people here, and we're going to have a better community.
Okay, and you had a rebuttal there?
I would love to see how many other districts, how many other states are actually funding our kids less, because I would really love to see us.
Utah is 20% less than us, and I think we should call them and find out what they're doing differently.
And is that online or?
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because last time I checked, we're 49th as far as student funding.
Is that acceptable for you?
No, absolutely not.
If we're further than 10, then that's not acceptable for our community and our students.
I'd love to know how would we address that.
Let's focus on the basics. Why do we keep adding other stuff into our curriculum when we're failing with the curriculum that we started with?
As far as the curriculum set by the state, so if
the state is very vague, so there is leeway, both lower and above. Let's do better for our students.
Let's pause there, and we'll return to that after this break.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years.
Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Okay, back on Nevada Newsmakers. I'm Mark Robison from the Reno Gazette Journal. We're having a debate, Washoe County School Board District C, which is North Valley's, Spanish Springs, and much of the rural areas. I'm here with Melanie Sutton and Joe Rodriguez. And so, Joe, let's start with you. One of the things we were talking before the last break was about per pupil funding, and it goes to budgeting. And so, one of the criticisms that is often raised is that Washoe County has high administrative costs compared to what it's spending on students. And so, what do you have to say to that?
I would like to see where are people pulling these numbers from. And if I can come back just real quick on per pupil funding, I will agree with Melanie Sutton. This is not acceptable. our Washington County School District children are being funded about $7,300 per pupil funding, which is not acceptable. We're the second largest district in Nevada and the least funded, and that's not the right answer. And to go back to building new schools, yes, WC1 allows us the ability to build new schools. Totally separate funding. We can't use those for daily costs of the operations of a school. And while building new schools, that does help minimize the student-teacher ratio, which does benefit our students. As far as administration goes, well, what's administration? If we're counting our assistant principals, our chief of police, our IT specialists, supervisors, things of that nature, all those positions make about 5%. So we have about 7,500 employees, give or take, and less than 500 of them are administration. So if you want to look at how many teachers a principal supervises, depending on the size of the school, employee to supervisor ratio is pretty high.
Okay, so Melanie, what do you have to say about the budget and spending priorities?
Sure, and I do believe that our administration is bloated. We have more superintendents than LA School District does, and they have millions of students when we have 64,000. So I do believe that it's bloated, and I do believe we can look at that. Our teachers need to be paid more. Our teachers are being micromanaged. Our teachers are having to survey our children and enter that data constantly. And we're over testing our students. Where's the learning? I mean, it seems like the only thing the district is focused about is the testing. We need to be teaching our students. I can study for a test and get 100%, but did I actually learn it?
Okay.
And our superintendent makes $400,000 a year.
Right. And so, going to sort of switch things up here a little bit. And so, Joe, how do you think teachers should handle it when students challenge what they're teaching in class?
I believe in asking questions. I wholeheartedly, just because you've been told something, well, ask why, clarify. And I do believe it's okay for students to have a different viewpoint. That's what makes, that's what makes us Americans, right? So I welcome that. I mean, obviously, not to a point where it's disruptive to a whole entire class, but if you can have an intelligent, open dialogue with your educator and the student, then I wholeheartedly support that.
Okay, and Melanie, what do you think about students challenging what teachers are teaching?
I absolutely agree with Joe. I mean, yes, it's great to ask questions. That's how you build your intellect and your own opinions, and that's the best thing to do. I don't want our children to be indoctrinated. They need a challenge, but if you're talking about behavior, then that's a different story. The students need to behave correctly and not disrupt the other students. And I do think we have a problem with violence in our school, in bullying in our school, and I feel like the district has been ignoring it, and the problem has been getting worse.
Okay, and so we'll do one last quick question for each of you. Melanie, I'll start with you. Public safety, student safety, what do you think the school district needs to be doing differently?
Children having consequences, because if you allow them to get away with something, they're going to try and get away with even more. And just consequences for the child, for the parents. When it comes to absences, 1/3 to 50% of our students aren't even showing up. So if they're not showing up to school, how are we going to teach them? And we do have laws on the books where they can be cited, both parents and student, and they can get their driver's license taken away for chronic absences. So we need to hold our children and families accountable along with the teachers as well.
Okay, Joe, student safety.
I do feel like I need to correct that. Our actual daily attendance is about 93%. It's district-wide. If we had a 30 to 40% absentee rate, we wouldn't have a student-to-teacher ratio problem. So with that being said, as far as school safety, 100% my priority. I mean, that's what I do in my full-time career is public safety. I do believe we have made progressive moves towards single-point entry, using WC1 funds for existing schools, older schools like Stead Elementary and Lemon Valley Elementary, actually putting in single points. I believe we need to go further. Our student body and our schools have built schools, we've grown student body, but we haven't increased in police officers. So that is one of my priorities. I've been pretty critical of our police administration that we need to get more on that. Firearms dog is something else I've been advocating for. We just got awarded a grant, so we are making that step forward. So my goal is hopefully that dog never finds a gun, but we have that deterrence measure in. Other things I'm looking at is, pretty frankly, it's kind of like Secret Service stuff. There's companies out there that actually do.
We're going to have to wrap it up there, Joe.
Well,
appreciate you both being here, but we're out of time on Nevada Newsmakers, and so until next time. This has been Mark Robison from the Reno Gazette Journal with Melanie Sutton and Joe Rodriguez.
With Nevada's only transplant center and verified burn center, the science is here. With award-winning cardiologist and the state's only dedicated heart failure clinic, the talent is here. With Nevada's most advanced robotic surgery, the technology is here. And with the Silver State's only designated pediatric trauma center, hope is here. All because we are here. UMC.
I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. One of the things I love about the Carson Valley Inn here in beautiful downtown Minden is CV steak. I have eaten here so many times. Tell folks what they can expect when they come here to eat.
It's a beautiful room, great service. We have certified Angus beef, seafood, lamb, a great range of appetizers, and wonderful desserts. Jean-Michel's done a great job of selecting some beautiful wines for us. The customers love it, and we've got a great selection of cocktails as well. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
A bird's eye captures its surroundings at different heights. At Brian Culpa Photography, we can make your imagination soar over buildings, parks, cityscapes, and beyond. Brian's images tell the story and get the job done. If you need a new perspective to tell your story, contact Brian today. Brian Culpa Photography. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
Your good times are at Tamarack Casino. All new DC Cafe and Bar, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Ooh, your good times at Tamarack.
Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
The 10th annual Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, your RTC, our community. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. University Medical Center of Southern Nevada. Compassion, accountability, integrity, respect. The Nevada Mining Association, mining a better future for Nevada. And NV Energy. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. See you on the next show.